Well, it looks like I'm going to have to put off that fishing trip again because the IndyCar offseason has gone from crazy to bat bleep crazy. There's a report today, which I have no reason to disbelieve, that Michael Andretti is selling his ownership stake in Andretti Global. So we'll go over the article that broke this news. I'll try to add what information I can to it. There's going to be a little bit of speculation in this article because nobody is talking right now. Let's be 100% upfront about that. Andretti Global is not commenting on it. And if they're not commenting on it, we're never going to know. And I don't know why they're not commenting on it, but they're not. So until we have a comment from Andretti Global, we're going to have to put this into the category of strongly rumored, reported by another outlet. I don't know how you want to classify this. But again, no one is denying that this is happening. And it's pretty crazy because if you think about Andretti, particularly Michael Andretti, he has been all over the headlines all year long. And we're going to go into all of the things that Michael Andretti has been involved in this year and in recent years with Andretti Global. But, I mean, most recently, Andretti Global is the team that sent the FBI to go investigate Rahal Letterman Lanigan. They have been all over the map. And now all of a sudden, this story breaks. So, let's look at it because it came from an outlet that most of us probably aren't very familiar with. It's called Sportico. And what is Sportico? Well, if the cookie crap down at the bottom of the screen didn't alert you already, and this is something that was brought to my attention by Tony DeZinno over on Twitter, great journalist over on the sports car side of things. Sportico is owned by Penske Media. And you may say, Penske Media? Roger? No, not Roger, not Penske Entertainment. I know it gets a little bit confusing, but it's in the family. Let's put it that way, because the chairman of Penske Media Corporation is Jay Penske, who, of course, is Roger's son, used to own Dragon Racing in the IndyCar series and still participates in Formula E with that particular venture. But it's quite interesting that it's a Penske Media group that managed to break this story. There's no doubt about it. I'm sure that's totally a coinkydink. Credit to Scott Shotnick and Brennan Coffey, who were the two guys who broke this story. Full credit to you because I think this took a lot of people by surprise, although I will say this. I heard this weekend. I dismissed it, and I shouldn't have. I should have dug. But somebody walked up to me at the IMSA weekend and said, "Hey, I heard Andretti's selling," and I said, I think I said something to the effect of, "I could see that, but press X to doubt." Well, we have the article now. Let's get to reading. Michael Andretti is relinquishing his ownership stake in Andretti Global, the motorsports company he has helmed since 2002, according to three people, which, if you've ever taken a journalism class, that's the industry standard in writing an article of the amount of people that you need to verify something with knowledge of the move. So I don't know who those people could be, and they're definitely going to remain anonymous. Andretti, whose racing teams have won 5 Indianapolis 500s and who's the son of the legendary Mario Andretti, is listed as the CEO and chairman of Andretti Global. Andretti Global declined a request for comment. No, I don't want to subscribe. The company rebranded as Andretti Global in 2023, less than a year after executive Dan Tauris and his holding company, Group 1001, bought an ownership stake in the Andretti Motorsports operation. The investment was in part to fund a potential Formula One team. Remember that. I'm sure you haven't forgotten, but remember that. Andretti, according to one of the people, has for some time been eyeing a transition from his operational role to a more strategic position. So this is an interesting line of the article, and I don't know what to make of it because the article claims Michael is stepping away from the ownership role of the team. It doesn't necessarily state that he's leaving the team, and I think that's where some people are maybe reading too much into it or reading the wrong thing into this. The idea of him going to a more strategic position says to me, is he going more into deciding what motorsports Andretti Global is and is not in? Does strategic position mean, does he want to be just on the pit box? Does he not want to deal with the operational side anymore? Does he not want to have to make the decisions that a CEO would have to make? There's some room for, I guess, interpretation in terms of what specifically Michael Andretti's role would be in the future with Andretti Global. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Last year, F1, Andretti Global, that's not, I don't think that's how they call that, but F1 Andretti Global was a bidder for an expansion F1 team. Michael was vocal about his desire to land a team and an outspokenness, which didn't help the organization's bid with the typically tight-lipped F1 governing body. F1 didn't add any new teams. Dan Taurus, Group 1001, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. In 2021, Andretti, with his father Mario, formed a special purpose acquisition company separate from Andretti Global called Andretti Acquisition. An SPAC is a business that raises cash in an IPO and then seeks to buy other businesses, bringing it public. Now, what this article is about to go into is something that's outside of kind of David's wheelhouse, okay? But, some folks have texted me and said this is a bigger deal potentially than someone with just a motorsports background would think, and there's a reason that it's listed in this article. I'll put it that way. In March of this year, Andretti closed a merger with Zapta Computing Holdings, a generative AI company. Based on disclosures by Zapta in a filing 2 weeks ago, Andretti Global is Zapta's largest customer. While Zapta is a sponsor of the motorsports team, Zapta is paying Andretti Global $9 million under the agreements, while Andretti Global is paying Zapta $6 million, including $1 million contingent on Zapata paying the motorsports team $1 million. My math isn't very good here, but Zapata is paying $9 million, but then Andretti is paying them $6 plus $1 if Zapata pays them $1. So really, $2 million is going to Andretti Global? Is that? I don't know. Again, not my wheelhouse. All of the agreements expire at the end of 2024. Zapata, which is Andretti's SPAC, took public at $10 a share and closed Thursday trading at 33 cents. Okay, well, you don't need to be a stonks expert to know that is not good. That bad boy crashing harder than insert driver here. Michael Andretti continues to have a financial interest in Zapata with nearly 13% of the diluted equity of the company. The story has been updated with the news that Andretti Global declined to comment. So, Andretti appeared to have taken a serious bath on the stock, the Zapata company going public. So, clearly lost some money there. No doubt about it. So I guess this is trying to establish that Michael would have a motivation to sell his ownership stake in the team. Makes some sense. There are some other aspects, issues, and avenues where I'm curious about Michael Andretti's standing with the Group 1001 people, with the Guggenheims, all of these entities that are investing in Andretti Global. The article states it up here. The fact that Dan Taurus and Group 1001 bought into Andretti Global specifically because of the idea that they would be able to go to Formula One, that has obviously not materialized. And the article here points blame at Michael for being part of the reason why that deal didn't happen. We're entering the speculation zone here, folks. Is there a scenario where the only way you get to F1, if you're Dan Taurus and the Guggenheim family, is if Michael Andretti is out of the picture? I think that's a realistic step in logic if you think about something like that. Let's think about the FBI investigation. Teams steal technology, teams steal ideas, teams steal all sorts of things all of the time in racing. It is not unheard of. It is not outside of the realm of possibility. But very, very rarely do you add the FBI into that. Someone said to me today, it puts Andretti Global, it puts the sport in a very difficult position if that indeed goes to discovery, because you're going to end up airing a lot of dirty laundry. And if that was indeed Michael's call to bring the feds in, that's a tough sell for his ownership of that team, especially with investors like Dan Taurus and companies affiliated like Group 1001. That's difficult because it puts the business in a bad spot. And then you think about all of the pies that Michael has been sticking his fingers in recently. I think one of the big red flags for this move coming was the fact that when Wayne Taylor Racing was announced to be moving to Cadillac for next year, the name Andretti was not associated whatsoever with that move. Very interesting times. And you wonder about any expansion into NASCAR. You wonder about the future of the Formula E team. The Indy cars aren't going anywhere. And I'll put it this way too. If you think about it, I don't see a scenario where this team, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're going to call it Taurus Motorsports from now on. But there's almost too much name equity in the name Andretti to get rid of it, even if Michael has no ownership of the team. It could almost be like a Williams F1 sort of deal where you keep the name on the team, but the Williams family has nothing to do with it anymore. Or in this case, the Andretti family has nothing to do with it anymore. So I'm very, very interested and curious to see the details as they continue to emerge about this. But if you think about all of the things that have happened with Michael Andretti, and to top it all off, think about the outspokenness of Michael Andretti earlier this year about Penske Entertainment and about Penske's ownership of IndyCar, and just the fact that it was a Penske-owned media outlet that broke the story is extremely fascinating to me. I think 100 Days to Indy covers the wrong part of the season. If they're not making a reality show about this, I don't know what to tell you. It's a hell of a thing, and I'm very interested to see where this goes. But things are changing, and I think they're going to keep getting crazier. I know of at least one big news story that has nothing to do with this that's coming down the pipe, and it will create a lot of discussion. And no, I'm not talking about Dallas either. But I think we will in a very soon video. Thank you guys, and we'll keep it on Andretti Watch, and you guys keep it right here. Subscribe for more.